The actors featured in the MCU did it all, from minor cosmetic changes to numerous improvised dialogues. Some of them are more trained than others at improvising. The evidence is that if the supporters did not know the scene or dialogue was improvised, they would never have guessed it otherwise. Hello everyone, welcome back to Unlimited Movies. Today we are going to show you the 10 Marvel movie scenes that were not in the scripts. Before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, press the bell icon to stay updated with our new videos. The most unforgettable scenes and lines often don't even need to be in the script when you have such incredible actors in your movies, which Marvel obviously does. There are so many movie scenes that fans recall to date, no matter whether they saw the movie yesterday or 10 years ago. And at the same time, it's kind of shocking and amazing that some of them have been improvised by the cast. Without further ado, let's jump into the list. Number 10, The Mystery of Gamora. Speaking of iconic lines, in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, Drax has some of the funniest lines. But by far, his best line came in Avengers Infinity War, and it wasn't even in the script. As Star-Lord asks, "Where's Gamora?" and Iron Man follows up with a puzzled, "Who is Gamora?"
I'm gonna ask you this one time. Where is Gamora?
Do you want better? Who's Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
The reaction of Drax takes both of them by surprise. I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? Number 9, the friendship between Iron Man and Spiderman. One of the iconic friendships in the MCU was created by Peter Parker and Tony Stark, as Tony was a father figure of sorts for Peter. Besides the death scene of Spider-Man, other improvised moments between them are more soothing. When Peter goes for the embrace in the car, one such moment happens, and Tony responds, "That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you."
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
The line came up with Robert Downey Jr. And when the young actor neglected to make room for Downey Jr. when talking in Peter's bedroom, he also urged Tom Holland to step aside. Holland forgets to step aside, and Downey Jr. saves the day by saying, "I'm gonna sit here, so you move the leg."
I'm gonna sit here so you move the leg.
Downey Jr. goes to sit, and as for Holland, he just stood there. Number 8, the unusual friendship. In Avengers Age of Ultron, Hawkeye and Quicksilver have a love-hate relationship. Initially, Quicksilver stands against the Avengers, and Hawkeye makes fun of him. But in the end, by sacrificing his own, Hawkeye's life is saved. Quicksilver has made Hawkeye insane before that happened, however. And in the following improvised monologue, Jeremy Renner showed it by considering getting rid of Quicksilver. Nobody will know. Nobody. I saw Ultron sitting on him last time. Yeah, he'll be missed. I miss him already, that swift little bastard.
Nobody would know. Nobody. The last I saw him, and Ultron was sitting on him. Yeah, he'll be missed. That quick little bastard. I miss him.
If someone could pull this lie off, it would be Hawkeye. Number 7, Tony Stark loves his shawarma. In the MCU, almost every movie has one or more post-credit scenes, but rarely do the Avengers just hang out and eat some of the series. Robert Downey Jr., based on the popular shawarma scene in the improvised thread, he says that he would like to get some shawarma when he wakes up after Iron Man flies a nuke into space and falls unconscious.
You ever tried shawarma? There's a shawarma joint about 2 blocks from here. I don't know what it is, but I want to try it.
The post-credit sequence filmed later than the rest of the Avengers resulted in this. Number 6, long time no see. They haven't seen one another for a few years by the time Thor and Captain America reunite in Avengers Infinity War. They meet in Wakanda, where Thor appears out of nowhere and enters the war against Thanos' powers. The exchange between Thor and Captain America was improvised, but between two mates who lost contact with each other for a while, that might very well happen. If he had a new haircut, Captain asked Thor, and Thor then points out that Captain copied his beard.
Your haircut? Notice you've copied my beard?
Number 5, Curious Nick Fury. Nowadays, Nick Fury, the super spy, has aliens over for breakfast. But he had no idea that aliens were possible when he first encountered Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel. Fury discovered it the hard way when Coulson was impersonated and assaulted by one of the Skrulls. Fury attends Skrull's autopsy later on and can't help his curiosity. He takes a glimpse of Skull's, let's say, intimate organs. Samuel L. Jackson improvised a section where Fury's peeking under the sheet, covering up the body, and the creators liked it so much they kept it in the film. Number 4. Tony Stark is Iron Man. Stark doesn't keep his superhero behavior a secret at the MCU, unlike his comics, where Iron Man hides his true identity and pretends to be Tony Stark's bodyguard. In reality, in the first film's finale, he admits to being Iron Man. A lot of the dialogue was improvised in Iron Man 2008, but one of the most significant moments was when Robert Downey Jr. said, "I am Iron Man." The line was a concept of Downey Jr., and it remained until Avengers Endgame, with Tony Stark, as he said the very same thing moments before he snapped his fingers and defeated Thanos once and for all. Tony Stark, we miss you and we love you 3000. Number 3. Spider-Man dies. Avengers Infinity War mass murdered a lot of people, but one of the most tragic moments that made many members of the audience weep was the death of Spider-Man. But what many people may not grasp is that Tom Holland improvised the scene and the dialogue inside it, and Robert Downey Jr. Everything they knew was that Spider-Man would die, but the rest of it was up to them. The now iconic Holland line, "I don't want to go," is the young actor's invention.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Sir, please.
Number 2. Almost all of Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok is one of the MCU's funniest movies, probably because the actors improvised almost all of it, about 80% of the film. The get help scene between Thor and Loki is one such instance, a clever plan for how to confuse and kill their enemies. Loki is not too pleased about it, but in the end, Thor gets his way. And there's also Jeff Goldblum, aka the villainous Grand Master, who improvised his lines for the most part. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Thor hanging his hammer on a coat rack. Thor: The Dark World is supposed to be a bit gloomy and serious, as the name suggests, but that doesn't mean that some jokes can't make it into the film. One such hilarious scene was improvised by the man himself, as it turns out. He's quite confused about what to do with his hammer when Thor walks into an apartment. So what's he doing? Of course, he hangs it up on the coat rack. Apparently, while goofing around during takeovers, Chris Hemsworth came up with the idea, and he just thought it was funny. Peggy Carter moving Captain America. Captain America in Captain America: The First Avenger literally went from zero to hero. And we were not the only ones shocked, and also in awe of his transformation. When Peggy Carter met him for the first time in the movies, the scrawny kid was too weak to get into the army, but we all know that changed very soon. Peggy couldn't help herself but be distracted by his desirable physique when the new and enhanced Steve Rogers came, even going so far as to touch his bare chest. It seems like a natural response to standing so close to with a shirtless Captain America, and it actually turns out that it was. Holly Atwell admitted that it was the first time she saw Evans without his shirt on when the cameras rolled during that scene, and she just couldn't help herself. Number 1. Bonus: the scenes that didn't make it into the films. Ultimately, 2 improvised scenes didn't make it into the movies, but both are humorous and contain kisses. Chris Evans went for a kiss in Avengers: Age of Ultron, but given that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers claimed that the scene ended in bloopers throughout most of the film. And in Avengers Endgame, after they reunite, Stark kisses Peter Parker on the cheek instead of literally kissing him. It was Stark's dad-like moment, but the writers went for another take on the scene once again. And with that, it's time to end the video. Do let us know which one caught your eye in the comments section below. Subscribe for more content just like this one, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to smash that like button, and also press the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. Until then, fellas.